In the quaint, seemingly serene town of Willowbrook, something sinister began to stir. A place once known for its peaceful charm was abruptly jolted out of its tranquility by a disquieting series of events. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly, with a handful of townfolk strangely vanishing into thin air. One by one, they disappeared, leaving behind a ghostly silence and a community grappling with the terrifying unknown. The local police, once custodians of a near-crimeless town, found themselves plunged into a predicament they were ill-equipped to handle. With each passing day, the list of missing persons grew, and yet there was nothing to follow, no leads to chase, no suspects to apprehend. The town's sense of safety, once taken for granted, was now shrouded in an unsettling fog of fear and paranoia. Whispers began to echo through the once lively streets of Willowbrook. Conversations hushed, eyes darted, and the once close-knit community started to fray at the edges. Trust, that glue which had held this town together, was now rapidly evaporating, replaced by a sense of dread that hung heavy in the air. The local law enforcement, their resources stretched thin, their morale dwindling, found themselves in a desperate race against an unseen enemy. The quiet town they had once sworn to protect was now a puzzle box of mysteries and unanswered questions. Each day brought them closer to a realization they were reluctant to accept. They were dealing with something far beyond their comprehension, something that lurked in the shadows, playing a cruel game of cat and mouse. As days turned into weeks, the crimes escalated, leaving a chilling pattern in their wake. The once serene town of Willowbrook was now a tableau of fear, its innocence lost to a sinister force that had made its unsettling presence known. This was just the beginning, the curtain raiser to a chilling narrative that was yet to unfold. Each victim was found with a chilling memento, a single playing card, the image of a sinister joker imprinted on it. This was no random pattern, but a macabre calling card left behind by a deranged mind. As the news of this gruesome signature spread, an icy dread seeped into the heart of Willowbrook. It was as if the very soul of the town was being siphoned away, replaced with a creeping terror that cast long, dark shadows over its quaint streets. Whispers of a monstrous perpetrator swirled through the community, a phantom wreathed in the cloak of a joker. This was no mere criminal, but a predator, a serial killer who seemed to revel in his dreadful game of life and death. The playing card, the joker, was his way of mocking his victims, the police, the entire town. A sickening jest that left no one laughing. As each day bled into night, the townsfolk, once warm and welcoming, began to retreat into their homes. The comforting glow of porch lights extinguished, leaving only the cold moonlight to bathe the deserted streets. Families huddled together, their homes transformed into fortresses against the unseen terror that lurked in their midst. Trust, that precious bond that held the community together, began to crumble. Neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, their friendly waves replaced with fearful glances. Paranoia, like a relentless tide, washed over the town, tearing at the fabric of its unity. No one was safe, no one was above suspicion. The laughter of children was replaced by the hushed whispers of adults, their faces etched with worry. The once vibrant town square, the heart of Willowbrook, was now a ghostly echo of its former self, its silence a testament to the terror that held the town captive. The Joker's gruesome game had turned Willowbrook into a town held hostage by fear. Trust vanished. Fear reigned. Willowbrook was in the grip of an unseen terror. In the midst of this chaos, Detective Sarah Miller, a seasoned investigator, was summoned. Miller wasn't just your run-of-the-mill detective. She had a reputation for cracking cases that left others scratching their heads. Her specialty? Serial killers. She was known for her ability to delve deep into the psyche of these disturbed individuals, uncovering their motivations and their methods. Arriving in Willowbrook, she immediately set to work, examining the chilling evidence. Each piece of the puzzle was meticulously studied, every connection traced. Her keen eye for detail didn't miss the eerie Joker card left at each crime scene. It was this sinister detail that caught her attention. As she pieced together the fragments of this terrifying puzzle, a horrifying realization dawned on her. The Joker card was not just a symbol, it was a taunt, a cruel game the killer played, and the stakes were higher than ever. With every tick of the clock, the tension in Willowbrook escalated. The quiet town, once a haven of tranquility, was now a battlefield, gripped by an unseen enemy. Detective Sarah Miller felt the weight of the town's fear pressing down on her shoulders. She was their last line of defense against an enemy that lurked in the shadows, a ruthless predator preying on the innocent. Every second counted. The sinister Joker continued his cruel game, leaving a trail of victims in his wake. Yet as the body count rose, so did Miller's determination. She knew she had to outsmart this cunning murderer, to decipher his twisted game before it was too late. The town's last shred of peace was hanging by a thread, threatening to crumble into chaos under the strain of the relentless fear. Miller burrowed further into the case, her every waking moment consumed by the cryptic clues left behind by the killer. She studied the Joker cards, the victims, the crime scenes, trying to find a pattern, a connection, anything that could lead her to the murderer. It was a race against time, a deadly game of cat and mouse, and Miller was determined to win. She felt the killer's eyes on her, taunting her, challenging her. It was a dance of death, and she was his chosen partner. But Miller was no ordinary dancer. She was a seasoned investigator, a relentless pursuer of truth, and she would not be outmaneuvered. As the clock continued to tick, the pressure mounted. The town was on edge, its peace hanging in the balance. Miller knew she had to act, to strike back against the unseen enemy. She had to outsmart him, catch him off guard, and bring him to justice. She was the town's only hope, and she wouldn't let fear stand in her way. The disturbing truth she was about to uncover would change Willowbrook and Detective Miller forever. As Detective Miller delved deeper, she found herself facing an unsettling revelation. The Joker card, an ominous signature, began to reveal a chilling truth. A truth that could shatter Willowbrook's last shred of tranquility. Willowbrook's fate and that of Detective Miller hangs in balance. What happens next, only time will tell.